What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mason, why are you standing instead of sitting for this review? Well, it's because I wanted to start off with a little personal, I guess, imitation. I've been working on my impersonations, so I really wanted to try to see if I could do a good impersonation of Romelu Lukaku. So, here's my impersonation of Lukaku. And now, my impersonation of Romelu Lukaku whenever the ball is 5 yards close to him, but he's surrounded by defenders. Thank you, thank you. I've been working all day on that. Just kidding, I worked about as hard as Lukaku did. So yeah, I mean, obviously I was going to talk about Lukaku at some point, but I just wanted to get that out of the way and really start off with something to express my frustration with this game today. Because yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid to watch. The coaching staff is stupid. Not all of the players, but there are some that are really stupid. I'm just getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of it. Because it should be getting better. It should not be getting worse. And we go from Plymouth, a terrible game against a League One side, to this one, and it just got worse. Oh, God. So yeah, let's talk about it. First of all, the lineup. We're better defensively today, obviously. I mean, we didn't give up a goal. But we're better defensively today because we went with the back three, Silva in the middle. So that's perfectly fine. But the problem is you've gone with Christensen. And for the majority of the game, their best chances came down Christensen's side. You know, Espilicueta, he helps back. But if you get in behind Christensen, which it's very easy to do because he steps out way too much, you have a chance. And they didn't create great chances, but when they did, most of the time it came down from that side. Most of the time it was just Christensen steps out, he gets beaten behind, and now all of a sudden they're through on goal. And then Silva made a great block, Kepa had to make some great saves, Rudiger made a couple good challenges. So I don't know why Christensen is playing. He's done nothing to deserve to start over Chalobah, but the coaching staff is stupid. In the midfield, I mean, I get it. Conte's not at full fitness. You don't want to risk him. So Jorginho, Kovacic, I guess it's fine. I still would rather see Mount over Jorginho. And I think once Loftus-Cheek comes back, I think Loftus-Cheek would be probably even more of a starter over Jorginho. But I get the fact that we're limited today, so those two are our midfield. Alonso, Espilicueta, I mean, I also get that. I would like to see if Kennedy can do anything on that left side, just because he's kind of an unknown factor. I know what I'm going to get out of Alonso. Going to get a lot of good build-up play, but then no finishing, and then a lack of defensive quality. Sarr, you're going to get a youth player that probably should be playing at the non-league side level. So Kennedy, I don't really know what to expect. I remember him being a clever player, very good on the ball, but he always had those gaps in his game. He didn't really want to work back. He was pretty lazy on defense. And then there were times when he would try to do too much with it and wouldn't release it quick enough. But I would like to see what type of player he is now, because it's been a little bit since we've actually seen him at a competitive level. So I would like to see that option, just because Alonso's not getting the job done right now. He's just not. But again, I get that we're going with a strong lineup, so I get why Alonso is starting over Kennedy, over Sarr, thankfully. And then the front three makes no sense at all. I mean, you really think about it. Lukaku was terrible against Plymouth. So let's reward him with more game time. Let's reward him with a full game. Doesn't even get subbed off. If I'm Werner right now, I'm pissed. I mean, my God. What does Lukaku have to do to get benched? He went out and did nothing against the League One side. He walked around. He was lazy. He didn't challenge for anything. And he gets to start again and play more. And guess what? He gave us more of the same. Oh, but he scored. Yeah, because of a defender's mistake that put it right at his feet. He didn't have to move for it, which is perfect for him because he doesn't want to move. So why is he still starting? And then the two behind him, they're the exact same type of player. Not in the sense of their ability and their, I guess, how they play. What I mean is they're the same type of player in their work ethic. On the ball, they'll try to make stuff happen. They'll try to take on players. They'll try to do stuff that's clever. But off the ball, you're not going to get a whole lot of work from them. Occasionally, Ziyech will. But for the most part, he's the player. He'll stay where he needs to be. Give him the ball, and he'll try to make something happen. Havertz, when we have the ball, he'll do fine. He'll step in. He'll check in, try to show for feet. But when we don't have the ball, neither of them are the type of player that's going to be running down the defense. And Lukaku sure as hell is not going to be making any runs to shut down their defense. So we've got 3 players up top, all of which are not going to work off the ball. And we wonder why we only scored 1 today. And even aside from that 1, I can't really think of many great chances that we had. Now, granted, it's been a while, so I've had time to sort of let the game flow out of my mind because I kind of wanted it to. But I can't really think of, oh, that was a great chance. I remember Havertz making one great run and hitting it off the post. And I remember Ziyech having a couple times where he cut inside and had a decent cross or shot, but none of them were great. None of them were like, oh, that was a clear-cut chance. They had 2, at least, clear-cut chances that Kepa had to make some really good saves for. So really, on the face of it, we scored 1 mistaken chance that they gave us, and they had 2 chances that our keeper had to bail us out on. Their keeper didn't really have to bail them out at any point that I can remember. Again, I may be misremembering. Also, the feed was a little awful. So there were some moments where it cut out, and I couldn't really see what was going on. So there may have been chances that I missed. But yeah, I don't really remember us creating fantastic chances. And I'm not surprised. With that lineup, I'm not surprised. So, again, I don't know if it's Tuchel telling the assistant coach to do all of this, or I don't know if he's the one stepping in saying, no, this is what we need. But my God, we need to make some changes. Because we've been struggling, and a lot of it is down to the work rate on the field. You look at a team like Man U. I actually saw somebody make a post about Tuchel saying Man U has more quality around the field, and yet look at how well Chelsea are doing with less quality. You really need to appreciate Tuchel. And I'm saying, no, it's not Tuchel. What it is, we have good players that are not talented, that are not, I'm not going to say not talented, they're not as gifted. You look at Ronaldo, you look at Bruno Fernandes, you look at Pogba, you look at those players with the really world-class talent. We don't have necessarily those type of players. We've got players that are willing to bust it, though. And sometimes they are not. We've seen several times where those players are not really willing to put in that extra mile. They get pouty, they get frustrated. Their attitude is their main problem. We've got some great attitudes on the field. But the problem is we started struggling when we let Mr. Attitude up top starting more. We let him into that front line, and now we can hardly create chances with him in there because he's not doing anything. He gets pouty. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to make runs. Azpilicueta set him up so many times, and he doesn't even want to step to the ball that's literally 5 yards away from him. He's the closest player to it, and he doesn't freaking move. And it's because it's up here. He doesn't have the mentality to work himself. After the game's over, he's sitting there bent over at the knees. What did you do today to get so worn out? I can't think of more than a few runs that he made throughout the entire game because the rest of it, he was walking. There was a point, I wish I had taken a picture, but I didn't, and I couldn't rewind because unfortunately Hulu doesn't let you rewind stuff unless you're recording, and my dad forgot to record. But I really wanted to rewind so I could take a picture and show. There was a point, I can't remember who it was. It was either Alonso or Havertz had the ball on the left side, and they're looking across the field to see what options there are. You've got Lukaku standing like this in the middle, and you've got Azpilicueta, our right wing back, who's much more of a defender than an attacker. But you know what? I'm looking for Azpilicueta because he's on his toes. He looks ready. He looks hungry. He's looking across the line, and he's ready to go. You can see in his body language he's ready to go. Lukaku, straight up and down, walking, shoulders. Honestly, sometimes the shoulders do look slouched. He looks so unready to play. And we wonder why we have so many moments where the ball is there to be won, and if he's just on his toes and ready to go, he's there. What makes it even worse, the reason I'm doing this so late is because I wanted to watch some of the Premier League games today that happened today, and also, again, I just wanted to kind of let myself calm down a little bit because as heated as I am right now, I was a lot more heated earlier. I would have been screaming throughout this entire review if I hadn't taken some time to sort of collect myself. But I watched the Tottenham Southampton game. Broja is doing 10 times more than Lukaku is. He plays the exact same way as Lukaku. He waits for the game to come to him, but he's ready for the game to come to him. When that ball drops anywhere near him, you know Broja's going to put a foot in because he's ready. And that's the thing. Giroud was the same way. Like, yes, there are strikers that sometimes will stand. They're not going to make, like, a run to check in to show for their feet because they're waiting for a cross to be put into them. I'm not saying that he can't do that, but the problem is, time and time again, the cross gets put in and he's not ready because his body language and his attitude isn't right. His mentality is not right. He's not ready for it. Because you can tell, once that ball gets hit in, you can tell by his reaction to it. Because there are some strikers, they will start from a standing position. They'll make it seem like, oh, I'm not ready. And then as soon as that ball is ready to be played in, okay, I'm ready to go. You watch Lukaku, he doesn't change. He's still here. Ball gets ready to get sent in, he's still here. Ball gets sent in, defender heads it out, and he's like, oh man, it's gone now. I can't do anything. He's not giving us anything. He's not doing anything for the team, and that is why I don't want to see him again. And we're probably going to see him again, because these coaches can't get it figured out. I don't understand. Like, you got a player who's not going to play for the team, get him out of the team. How many times does he have to constantly give us nothing before we wake up and say, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't play this guy. He's hurting us as a team. Maybe we shouldn't play him. Maybe we should play a striker who, yes, he's not as clinical. Although Lukaku missed several clear-cut chances today, so, I mean, even on that side of things, Werner still is neck and neck with him at least. But yeah, Werner, he misses some chances. Occasionally, he has some really bad goof-ups in front of goal. It happens. But I tell you what, he busts it every single game. Every time I watch him play. In fact, everybody was harping on him because there was one challenge he pulled out of against Plymouth. I'm like, this is the first time I've seen him pull out of any challenge. Most of the time he's busting it 110%, and we're really going to harp on him for the one time that he didn't make a run? When Lukaku spent 120 minutes not making runs? It's ridiculous. I do not understand the fan base's hate for Werner. He brings so much more to the field than Lukaku does. He brings everybody else into play. He makes the defense on the other team work because his movement is so good. Why is he not playing? Why is he riding the bench? And even if you're not going to play Werner because, he's not finishing right now, why is Lukaku playing then? You can play Havertz in there. He's not great at a false nine, but he'll at least work for the team. Pulisic, he brings so much more energy at that false nine role than Lukaku does. So why are we still going with him? So I realize this review has turned into more of a Lukaku rant, but I mean, today for me, Plymouth was the last straw. Like, Plymouth was the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, for Lukaku's career at Chelsea. I did not want to see him again. And then they start him again today, and he has another game where he did next to nothing. Made a few runs. He did step it up near the end of the second half, but by then, it's too late. I mean, the defenders are not worn out because they've been dealing with you all game. They're like, all right, well, now it's time to play because he's finally actually moving a little bit. But even then, he's still not really giving us much. So I didn't mean this to turn into a Lukaku rant, but that's kind of what it's become. I'll just briefly touch on the other players because most everybody else, except for Christensen, I thought played okay. Jorginho also didn't really play well today. I don't know if he was subbed to halftime because of injury or not, but Kepa, I mean, obviously made some good saves, so he did fine today. Nothing really to... He had one shot that I think truly tested him, and then the one-on-one wasn't really a great hit, so, I mean, he did well to step out, but yeah, the one shot from outside the box actually was a good test for him because he had to get across to it. But aside from that, I mean, it wasn't really tested today, so nothing really for him. Again, Christensen got caught stepping out way too much. So I don't know why he's playing and Chalaba isn't, or at least drop Ispilicueta back in and put Ziyech or Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. Silva was the only reason, not the only reason. He was one of the main reasons why it was a clean sheet today, because he stopped so many attacks throughout the game that were set up by bad touches from Jorginho, bad passes from Alonso or Christensen. He was the one that was keeping them from really challenging us. And I realized I had to say them because I don't even remember the name of the team. That's how frustrated I am with this game. And then Rudiger, back to a bit more of a calmer player today. Didn't really get involved in a lot of stupid challenges, or I don't know. He had a couple moments here and there, just still scary. But for the most part, he was fine today. Alonso, like I said, he's just not really bringing us much right now, to the point where, again, I'd like to see what Kennedy could do. I'd like to see if he can bring us more than Alonso is. We know Sarr's not going to, based on the past couple matches, aside from Tottenham. So, yeah, I just, unfortunately, he's fine when he's on the ball going down the field, but once he gets in that final third, it's like he just has lost his touch. His shots are miles wide, miles high. His crosses are not finding their targets, which, granted, there's not a lot of movement from the target in the middle, but it's still most of the time a little overhit, or he's not putting it on somebody's head that's in there. So it's just not been as good from him as far as the finishing quality, and that's something that was keeping him in the team earlier this season. So the fact that he's lost it, if Chilwell were not injured, he would not be playing. So it's unfortunate that we didn't really bring any options in for left wing back or even right wing back, because we are lacking on both at the moment. But I mean, that's the transfer team not doing their job again. So just throw that one in there. Spilicueta on the right side, he's not a wing back, but he's still miles ahead of anybody else on the pitch most of the time, because he just works so hard. I talked about it against Plymouth. I'll talk about it again here. He looks more clinical as a striker than our striker does, because he's just willing to work. He gets into the box and he's willing to work. So balls bouncing around, he's going to try to get in there. He's going to try to put a foot on it. He's going to try to finish it. And again, I mean, just that one moment that I can remember where ball is ready to be played across, Lukaku's standing still, doesn't look ready, and Espilicueta looks ready to break in behind. He's on his toes, leaning forward, ready to go. I mean, he's such a hard worker, and the fact that we're letting him go is just really stupid. And I already don't have a whole lot of faith in our transfer team because of some of the mistakes we've made over the past decade or so. This, for me, is up there. It makes top 10 of our worst transfer mistakes of all time. In the midfield, Jorginho, like I said, not really great today. Had a couple moments where he got caught too many touches, too slow. And that's just, typical Jorginho being too slow in there. So it is what it is. Kovacic, I thought, played okay today again. He didn't really start the season well, but he's come along. He's looking a lot better. So I'm glad that he's looking back to his best that we saw a lot of last season. The finishing still needs work, but the hard work in the midfield that he brings and his ability to keep possession in there are really what I want to see more of. Even if he's not finishing, I want to have him in there because he's so good at keeping hold of the ball in tight areas and just really breaking us out with his speed. So Ziyech, for the most part, did okay. He's been looking better. I've had issues with him, a few games ago and previously before that. He didn't really look up to his best. He looked like he was wasting a lot of chances. His touch was terrible. I think getting a lot of game time has helped him get back up to the standard that he set for himself early on, because there's definitely a lot more quality when he's on the ball. And today was no exception to that. I really thought he had a lot of good moments, had a lot of good touches inside, and created some good chances. Unfortunately, again, doesn't really have a striker to help him. There was one in particular from him. I just remember Lukaku was standing still. He's breaking in, and he does like a nice little out in, and could have found Lukaku if he were moving, but fortunately he wasn't. So, but it was a nice little run from him, and it's definitely, you could see the ideas are there, and he's trying to create, but he needs somebody to create off of. So whether that's Werner or whether, honestly, I don't see why we don't bring Broja back. I mean, obviously, I don't think we can now because the transfer window's done, and he may have had like something in his clause where we couldn't bring him back. But I mean, I'm just looking and I'm thinking, okay, we need to get Lukaku back to Inter because that's where he wants to be. That's clearly where he wants to be. I don't care. Go back, even if it's for a cut rate price. Get him out of here because he's not good enough. Bring in Broja. Bring him back. Let him get integrated into the team. I think we're going to see some great things from him. I think he's got a lot of quality, and he can really make himself a good Premier League striker going forward. He's got a lot of Giroud's capabilities, but with a bit more pace. Giroud was always just a good target man, but his pace let him down at times. I think Broja, from what I've seen, has the pace. So I would love to see him. I would love to see him thrive at Chelsea. But we got to just make sure our transfer team doesn't screw us over again. So, and then Havertz on the other side, I thought, did okay. Would like to see a bit more from him just because he's been kind of hit or miss this season. I don't know, he's not been terrible. He's just not really been great either. And I expect more greatness from him. So, I hope he can get up to that level of quality that I think everybody expects out of him because we've seen it sometimes. We've seen him play at a good level before. It's not quite been consistent this season. There have been games where he's stepped up and he's shown his quality, and then there have been some games where he's been pretty quiet. Today was kind of somewhere in the middle. He had some quiet moments, but then also had some moments where he did something nice. Won't talk about Lukaku anymore. Done with it. Again, I will hammer home, though, that the goal, yes, he scored. Congratulations. But it's a goal that literally he could score because the defender misses it, puts it right at his feet so he doesn't have to move. He didn't move. Cross came in from Havertz. He kind of gave it one of those. He didn't really get off the ground to try to put a head on it, and then defender puts it right at his feet. All he had to do was just put it in the goal from, 3 yards out. So if he had missed that, I think that would have been grounds for him to never have to play. I don't think any team would have ever taken him again if he had missed that shot. So it's really not anything that special, even though he did score. So I'm just going to move on because I've already said my piece about him. And then finally talk about the subs. Conte, again, came on at halftime for Jorginho. You can tell he's still getting back up to full fitness. He had a couple of good Conte moments in there, making good challenges, winning the ball from behind. There were a couple times that, because the referee today was not good. It was kind of funny because I was thinking, man, this guy's awful. And then I go watch the Tottenham game and David Coote was even worse. So just goes to show you, sometimes we complain about referees. Sometimes it could be worse in other games. But yeah, he was calling basically every single time one of their players fell to the ground. So unfortunately there were moments, because Conte is a physical player, and most of the time it's fair. There are sometimes he comes in a little bit late, but for the most part, he's a very fair player. He's not going to go in and just kick you. But unfortunately, their players are very good at bringing in the challenge and then falling over, and the referee was just buying it all today. So because of that, there were some moments where Conte felt a little hindered because he wasn't able to play his usual aggressive game. And then Mount came on for, I think it was for Ziyech, I think that's right. And he just provided some more energy. I mean, when I think about our front three, again, the three that we had today, none of them are really going to work hard off the ball. Honestly, the other three that you would expect to see up there, Mount, Werner, or Pulisic, all of them I think are. So bringing Mount on provided us a bit more work off the ball. He put more challenges on their defense. He didn't let them just win it and have plenty of time to pick out a pass to get them out of pressure. So we did start to have the game shift in our favor, because before Mount came on, it definitely was. I mean, we got the ball down the field and then they would come right back at us. So once Mount came on, then it started to be, okay, we get the ball back and then we kick it upfield and Mount's putting in a challenge. He's going to win the ball. And suddenly now we're down on their half of the field more. So that's just something that Mount's going to bring with his work ethic, and something Werner could bring too if we would just play him. And then Sarr came on for Alonso because the coaches hate us and wanted to give the other team a chance to get a penalty. So good job, guys. I mean, he didn't really have much time to do anything, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. I don't know how you can play Sarr after the Plymouth game, but they decided to, so these coaches are terrible. So with all that being said, I mean, I've said my piece. I'm not happy at all with the coaching staff, with the decisions, with some of the players. It's got to get better. I mean, are we going to win? I don't know. We're playing against another Brazilian side that we got beat against the last we got beat in the last Club World Cup by a Brazilian side. This is a different one. But still, I mean, this team's probably going to be better because they're going to be the best team in South America compared to the best team in, the Middle East, I think. Because I want to say this is like Saudi Arabia's best team, so I don't know if they're the best in the Asian realm or... I don't really know exactly where some of these teams come from. But, I mean, Palmeiras, they're going to be better. They're going to be better than this. And all they got to do is just outwork us. And the game can be theirs. So, I'm not entirely confident going into this final. And even after that, I mean, we're coming back. We've got Premier League games. We've got FA Cup. We've got the League Cup final against Liverpool, who are definitely going to outwork us if we play like this. And then, I mean, Champions League, we got lucky because we got outworked by Zenit, which put us in second place, but we got lucky and pulled the one easy team that we had it available to us. But even then, I don't really see that as an easy game because we're probably going to get outworked. So as long as we are just going to continue to have players walk around the field, have players not put in a challenge, have players constantly just brain turned off, I mean, it's just not going to be good. And as long as the coaches continue to pick them, they're not going to see a reason to get better. Because it's basically like they're getting rewarded for, I just walked around for 120 minutes. I didn't hardly put in a challenge. I let this League One team score on us because my defending was terrible. And I start again? Hell, why do I have to do a thing? That's right. Pay me money. Pay me money to stand around and do nothing, because I am lazy Kaku. Yeah, that's how I feel. If you disagree, rip me in the comments, because, hey, I need all of the attention I can get here, because I'm getting, no views on this. So the more comments you leave, the more the algorithm directs people to my videos. So, hey, rip into me. Tell me how wrong I am, even though I know I'm not wrong. But just tell me how wrong I am. Go ahead, do it. Stupid trolls. Anyways, with all that being said, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts in this game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys at the final. Peace out.